So here is my horse racing project, my Python code. So my first everything is run through this main function. So when you run the main function, you're given 6 options. The first option is you search by a horse name. So I'm going to include Zenyatta, and once I run that, it will give her pedigree. If I were to select a different horse, like Flightline, it will give his pedigree as well as his stallion stats, which includes a race record table, career overview, major wins, height, conformation, like snippet, and then like general statistics and like facts like where is he standing, year foaled, and all that. The second option is exactly the same, except for instead of searching by name, you search by stud farm. So for example, if I wanted Warfront, I could go to Claiborne Farm and select Warfront and see all the same information. The third option is a interactive like pedigree builder is what I'm calling it, but it basically means that you can add if the horse you're looking for is not already loaded into the pedigree database, you can change that by inputting the information. So for example, we're going to do the Puma because he's racing this weekend at Haskell, and it doesn't recognize a pedigree for the Puma, so I'm going to add one. So the Puma is by Essential Quality, who was foaled in 2018 and is out of a mare, Eve of War. And it'll recognize those two horses and autofill, but in some cases it doesn't, and then it prompts you to fill it in. And once it does this, we can go to Pedigree Database, and we can search up the Puma, and we will see it pop up. See right here, and then it'll load this so that in the future, if I were to go here and write the Puma, it'll recognize it and output the pedigree. The next option is see stallion stats. So option 1 here is just see the rankings. You can press more to see like the next 50. You can see all of them, but these are straight from Blood Horse Magazine rankings. And if you were to press on the code, see how it says like the 1 next to Not This Time, 3 next to Gunrunner. So if I type in 3, it'll give me the profile and all the stallion stats for Gunrunner. So, and it gives you like options like enter, back to get back to where you were before. 2 is the exact same thing except for its broodmare sire stats. So that's here. You press 1, you get a different like level of stats. This is for Bernardini. All this information is from Equine Line. And then Chief Earner, Magnitude, from the AP Indy line. And so, yeah. And then I'm going to go back. Option 3 is best value sires. So the way I calculated this is what is their earnings per runner minus their stud fee. And this is like a ranking. And as it turns out, Into Mischief is the worst for this, which isn't surprising given that a $250,000 stud fee is massive. And then 4 is some like new horses aren't going to pop up in these rankings. So if you wanted to see who are the new sires, they're here. First, which sires got their first foals this year, which sires are going to get their first yearlings. And as we saw, the July sale was just a couple days ago, was yesterday. And so you have horses like Taba who did really well and stuff like that. So who are their first yearlings. So then we can go back to the statistics menu, and that's everything. So we'll press 5, go back to the main menu. Now this is like what I think is the coolest part of my project. It's the hypomating engine. So if you want to input a mare, so I'm going to input Virginia Key, who is the, founded in the thing. If it's not found, so if you input a mare that's not in the pedigree database, it'll do the same thing as I showed you before, where it'll ask you to input it. It identifies the dam sire, which is Distorted Humor. It will also understand that Virginia Key is the dam of Tapan Street, who's a grade 1 winner. Then you're asked, oh, do I want this foal to be a dirt, turf, or neither? If you press neither, it'll search through all wins if you select dirt, it'll only select through dirt wins. And what do I mean by, and same thing with budget. So if I put none for budget, it'll output all of these. So what does it do? So we're going to press into Mischief and we're going to say C logic. So proven cross to Pan Street and Virginia Key already crossed and made a grade 1 winner. That's one reason that into Mischief is being suggested. It is also suggesting this cross because into Mischief with a distorted humor mare also produced Patch Adams, Citizen Bull, and Whiskey Decision. Now what you might notice is why does it only say grade 3 winner for Citizen Bull? Because I have not yet compiled all the data, and so this is what it's looking at, and this is only for 2025. But just to give you a sense of like sort of how this works is it sees race name, the grade of this race, the horse name, so Torpedo Anna, and then here it's looking for dirt. So if I were to do this whole thing again, and I was to put Virginia Key dirt, and then I was going to put a stud fee of $25,000. It'll only search through successful crosses on dirt. So that eliminates Twirling Candy, whose successful cross with a distorted humor mare was on turf, and the same thing with Not This Time. Also, it doesn't suggest Tap It or Into Mischief, whose stud fees are $185,000 and $250,000 respectively. But if you press Tap It, it gives you sons within that price range, and it's the same thing for Into Mischief. So let's say I want to do Virginia Key with, let's say, Authentic. You type in Authentic, and it saves it. Now, where does it save it? You go back to the hypomating engine, option 5, and you go 3, view save mating crosses. I already have a bunch loaded in, but there's number 1, Authentic Virginia Key. And this gives you the like combined or the pedigree for the hypofoal. Authentic Virginia Key, and you have all of this. The next thing that it does is you can search what are the top crosses for Stallion. So if I like Into Mischief, and I want to know what mares does he win with, and the correct answer is all of them. But as you see here, Distorted Humor is the top one, Bernardini really good, Old Fashioned, Pioneer of the Nile, and the way it's ranked is by multiple grade 1 winners first, then grade 1 winner, then multiple graded stakes winner, then grade 2 winner, then grade 3 winner, then stakes winner. And if there's like a tie, see Distorted Humor and Bernardini both have produced a grade 1 winner, then you go to the next one where the Distorted Humor cross produced a Pan Street, a grade 1 winner, and Shred the Gnar at this point was only a grade 3 winner. And so then we can go back and we go to the last like aspect is sales history. So what are the sales history? You can search by year. I've loaded in all of the sales for every year. If I want to go to like let's say 2018, just type in 18 and it has all of the sales. You can select on any. I'm going to pick on Facing Tipton Saratoga sale, and you get a list of every single horse. You can sort and filter. So like if I only want to see colts, bang. If I want to sort by price, highest to lowest. So this is how this works. And then I can just escape with the Q. And then if I want to see, okay, what about American Pharoah? Like, what has he produced? It'll give me a list of all the horses he's had go to auction, all 1,200 of them. It also gives a like sales performance summary. This is also for the sale. It'll be right here. This is the first thing that's output. Total horses, gross, average, median, sold percentage, how many did not sell, and then how many over 1 million. And it does the same thing here. It also combines like what is their lifetime numbers versus the last 5 years. As you see, American Pharaohs actually went down in comparison to like Not This Time, who we'll show in a second. But then you can do the same thing where you sort by like highest to lowest, and we'll see America's Joy. Now this horse is out of Leslie's Lady and unfortunately died before ever running a race, but $8.2 million at the 2019 yearling sale. So that's a crazy number. But if we were to go and look at Not This Time, we're going to see that he actually has like gone on a meteoric rise in the last 5 years. And nearly all of his millionaires are in the last 5 years, and all of his stats have gone up, which is really interesting in comparison to American Pharoah, whose stats have dipped. And then the last thing is you can search like the sale history for any horse. So we'll do Renegade, Foal 2023, out of obviously by Into Mischief, and out of the mare, Spice is Nice. Now the reason you have to include the sire name and dam name is Phasing Tipton, the way they have their statistics. See, it outputs, but all the sales data is here. For example, Phasing Tipton, they don't include like horse names. They just really include the sire and the dam. So you have to input those so that if it's a Phasing Tipton one, it'll still recognize it versus the Keeneland ones where they just tell you the name of the horse right here. So yeah, that is my project. If you got this far in the video, thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it.